And now, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
And yes, welcome to the Consumer Quarterback Show, helping you win in any marketplace, understand your buying decisions, make you more street smart, kind of give you that pulse of what's happening in the Tampa Bay and the Gulf Coast region of Florida. You know, the local economy. We do touch on some national news, but more specifically local stuff here, you know, to use that technical word, local stuff. We got Shane Socash going to be joining us, David Reynolds, Jewelry and Coin, and got some interesting stories coming out of his line of work. Investments, alternative investments, diamonds, jewelry, and all types of collectibles, cool stuff over at David Reynolds, Jewelry and Coin in St. Petersburg. Shane's going to be joining us soon. Alex Lima coming up, BlackBelt Fitness and Martial Arts coming up here in just a moment, as well as Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum. So we got a full show lined up for you. Contractor tips coming up from the Tin Man, Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum, on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Touch on some market stats, what's happening locally in the real estate market, as well as our feel-good story of the day. Parents asked beloved NICU nurse to be their son's godfather. So pretty cool stuff coming up here on the show. And we'd like to feature our real estate listings live on air. We help our sellers profit more, sell faster by featuring our listings live on air, 80 outlets worldwide. Maximum exposure leads to maximum offers and profits. 18735 Rogerland. This is a property in Spring Hill, Pasco County, Rogerland Road. Beautiful property. You got some rural land here as well. You can bring your dirt bikes, your four-wheelers, and this property is completely renovated. Beautiful, pretty much a basic, brand new home. Almost 1,700 square foot. You got a mother-in-law suite. You got no CDD or HOA. Over an acre of land that's cleared and flat and beautiful. Brand new cabinets, granite countertops, tile flooring, new roof, new AC, as well as washer and dryer. 18735 Rogerland Road in Spring Hill. One of our hot real estate listings from the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. Another property is 202 Westchester Hills. This one's a property out in the East Hillsborough County area. It's another property with a pool, 202 Westchester Hills Lane, 3,500 square foot home, and you've got a saltwater pool, screened enclosure, stainless steel appliances, granite countertops, new roof, new AC units. 202 Westchester Hills Lane, Valrico, Florida. You can see all of our listings at PlatinumMVPTeam.kw.com.
This is God's country.
And a quick shout out to our friend Ramin Kazami, Heights Soft Wash Pressure Washing here in Tampa Bay for all your real estate needs. He does a great job. Soft wash, so he's not going to peel your paint off or harm your plants. He does a great job. He knows how to do it. He's a professional. Ramin Kazami, Heights Soft Pressure Washing here in Tampa Bay. HeightsSoftWash.com. HeightsSoftWash.com. Let them know the real estate quarterback sent you. All right, going to the phone line, Shane Socash, David Reynolds, Jewelry and Coin. Welcome back to the Consumer Quarterback Show.
Thanks, Brandon. Good to be on.
Absolutely. My pleasure. And yeah, we always talk about, a little bit of stuff happening in terms of the economy, nationwide, of course, printing of money. The dollar is actually strong on a currency level, but it seems like, people are looking for places to put their money, getting out of cash in, precious metals, diamonds, jewelry, collectibles, coins, all the above over at David Reynolds Jewelry and Coin.
Yeah, definitely. I'd like to, look at the gold and silver and platinum bullion as an investment, and the other items that we do are, just the type of thing that, is nice in your life. I don't really look at diamond jewelry as an investment, so to speak, but, they're great tokens of affection and heritage pieces for your family.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And you told me about a recent story you had. Someone was willed a storage locker.
Yeah, so it had turned out that the storage locker was left, or storage unit was left to her from her grandparents, and she kind of sat on it for a long time, not really wanting to deal with the mess. And then, so little by little, she started like picking away at it, and she got into some coins that was in there that she wasn't aware that were in there, and it turned out to be pretty rare stuff. She's been in several times, and it's amounted, to at this point about $100,000 worth of stuff that she sold us, of really like trade dollars and rare variety silver dollars and this type of thing, numismatic silver.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, those are the cool stories that you hear about. And then I remember one of the last ones you had, there was coffee cups being buried in the backyard. I mean, back in the day, that's how a lot of people would do it, right? They would bury boxes or bury, coffee cans in the backyard, hold their valuables in a spot where, no one could find it. Maybe underneath the dog house, you had the dog house out back.
Yeah, in that instance, it was under the shed in the backyard. It was coffee cans, and the cans had over time rusted, and the rust kind of mixed with the coins, and it took some cleaning. But ultimately, we were able to. And when I say cleaning, don't clean your coins. But ultimately, we were able to separate the rust from the coins, and that was a few $100,000, as I remember, 250,000 from that particular instance. So the stuff is out there, and it's worth bringing in and having us look at for you.
Yeah, and even if they don't sell to you, you can help them put a value on some of these different items, these coins.
Absolutely. We do appraisals, written appraisals for insurance or estate purposes. Many attorneys locally use us, as well as, if there's something that there's a possibility you might sell. A lot of times we'll go ahead and make an offer, and we don't charge. We'll sort everything and make an offer, tell you why we made the offer, where we came up with the price, and you're welcome to take it or leave it at that point. And we don't charge for that. As long as you tell us there's a chance you would sell it to us if the price is right.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Just give that opportunity, right? That's, as long as there's a chance there, then it makes sense.
Yep.
Shane Socash, David Reynolds, Jewelry and Coin here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. I'm going to play a quick clip here about this one's kind of around investments and also entrepreneurship. It's a pretty cool study. Siena College National Survey showed that 62% of the young entrepreneurs or the younger generations are talking about starting a business. It's pretty cool.
Kids, the cavalry that's going to arrive to say the Democrats, if it does arrive, ain't going to be the youth vote. Take it away, ma'am.
Talk about young voters.
Well, the left is completely missing the mark with young voters. Generation Z is on track to become the most entrepreneurial generation in history, with 62% of them saying that they intend to or have already started their own businesses. Now, if we could pull up the chart from the Siena College National Survey, we can see that the top issue amongst 18 to 29-year-olds and 30 to 44-year-olds in all age groups that matter is the economy and inflation, not climate change, not racial division.
So economy and inflation, Shane, is that what a lot of folks are coming in talking about with you, economy and inflation, how their dollar's not going as far?
Definitely. A trend that we see a lot of over the course of the last couple of years is people selling property and then not wanting the proceeds from that property to essentially sit in cash and exchanging it or buying a percentage of gold or silver as a way to store the value over time. Right.
Now, there's obviously a right way and a wrong way to buy gold and silver and even platinum. Talk us through that. Like, what are the consumer tips there?
Yeah, so it's personally, I would at least check locally, especially here in the Tampa Bay area. We've got a handful of solid companies. We really don't have any particularly bad ones, and get ideas, talk to the people there, and find out basically what they're offering, and find out the prices, and then that way, pretty much we're all competitive with the online resources, and honestly, we're more competitive than the online resources. Online is very convenient, but in almost all cases, with the exception of rare exceptions, you're going to get a better price specifically at my store, or, there are other great places here in Pinellas County as well.
Now, do you actually walk away with the bullion, something that you would take home and, maybe put in your safe?
Absolutely, yeah. It's physical gold and silver, and of course, my clients don't particularly tell me where they're keeping it. I assume there's going to be some safety deposit boxes, some amount of coffee cans in the yard, under the mattress. But yeah, you got to take that into consideration where you'll store the gold and silver. Right.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of people, their 401ks are down. They're getting hit in the 401k. This is another clip I've got here. 25% most 401ks.
Under Biden, the average 401k is down about $34,000 or 25% in less than 1 year. Play cut 11.
Since President Biden took office, monthly savings have collapsed, falling 83%. The average 401k plan had over $135,000 at the start of this year. Today, those assets have shrunk on average to about $101,000. In other words, the average 401k plan is down about $34,000, more than 25% in less than 1 year.
Savings are down 83%. People are just not saving as much money as they used to, Shane.
Yeah, so the dollar doesn't go as far. You're spending more money on gas and milk and groceries and rent and property. So that's not surprising.
Yeah, exactly. And it all starts with the fuel, the gasoline, the fuel, the oil, the Saudi production. They're cutting this production. We're tapping our strategic oil supply, which is very scary in terms of, that's going to create a weak military, which, that's what's happening. The military index just came out, and we are at the score of weak with the independent, basically a ratings agency says our military is weak. And by tapping the oil supply, I don't think that's a good idea. To nominally drive down prices ahead of the elections is what, they're thinking on that left side.
Yeah, I don't care for that. Not my field of expertise, but I don't care for how that sounds.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. All right, Shane Socash, David Reynolds Jewelry and Coin, longtime friend of the Consumer Quarterback Show here, Pinellas County. You got a great location there, centrally located, right off of Central and 40th, was it?
That's exactly right, yeah.
Yeah, so people can go in. Talk a little bit about the diamond side. I think that's really cool, and then also the jewelry that you can create. You can really get creative if you're trying to impress a girlfriend, fiance, wife.
Yeah, so we have natural earth mine diamonds, old-fashioned diamonds here in the store. We're getting a lot of interest in the new lab-grown diamonds. Nothing specifically wrong with those. They are real diamond. Just keep in mind that they're a technology, and their prices are currently dropping and likely will continue to drop. But, it is something that we can provide to the client if that's their interest. And I will tell you, about 40% of our clients are asking for them, especially when it comes to bridal and earrings and that type of thing.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. To be able to just go local, stay local, shop local. How much of an emphasis, how important is that, rather, shopping local, supporting the local economy, doing deals with, local banks versus these big national banks, supporting David Reynolds Jewelry and Coin, another local economy. What's your thoughts on local versus, the big box stores?
So in our case, I know that we are competitive with the big box or the online retailers and that type of thing. So, the number one reason to use us is because we'll save you money, and that's always the best reason. But, when you support local, these are the people in your community. We're the ones that give donations to all the charities that call us, and the schools and these types of things. We support our community. I think there's big value in that. We spend our money in the community. So we employ, we have 14 employees here, so and they're in our community.
Right. That's a big part of it, and the trickle-down effect is going to be here. Plus, you buy from somebody online, they're working it out of their basement, their garage, you don't know where they're at, and then you don't have that local accountability. Right here, Shane Socash, David Reynolds, Jewelry and Coin. You know where he's located. He's going to be here locally. He can support you. So check him out online. We're looking at we've got the website pulled up on screen. Beautiful, beautiful website. Precious metal trading. You got all types of great products, services, jewelry design. You got the Denny Wong collection. Of course, you buy gold. So great website online. Shane Socash, thanks so much for joining us. Would you like him to check you out on Facebook as well?
Yeah, we're David Reynolds, Jewelry and Coin on Facebook, Instagram. You can find us online. Google us. Definitely check out our reviews. We're real proud of that. I think we're over 800 and 4.9. And as a business owner, to have 4.9 star rating, you're working.
Wow, that's awesome. 800 reviews, 4.9. That is stellar. Awesome.
Yep, you get it.
Great job, man. All right. Thanks, Shane. All right, coming up, we've got Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum, going to be joining us here after this short break. We'll be right back. More with our expert contributor. He's going to talk about contractor tips, things to look out for, things to avoid here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, I'm Ken Shamrock, and you're here with Consumer Quarterback Show. And I say, Brandon Rhymes, knock out your competition.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
Ian Beckles here with my man Brandon Rhymes, a.k.a. the real estate quarterback. Brandon, what's happening with the market?
Thanks, Ian. Any of our listeners out there, we'll offer you a 2% listing for the first 3 callers that reach out to the hotline, 813-917-1894. Call or text the hotline, 813-917-1894. Also, a great opportunity for folks out there looking for a part-time gig, maybe a side hustle, is Keller Williams Real Estate School, powered by Kaplan. Reach out if you'd like more information on how we have a free real estate school for you, online class, get licensed, and start referring business in, or maybe make a new career. 813-917-1894, consumerqb.com for our syndicated radio and TV show on 80 outlets worldwide, consumerqb.com, or our real estate website at platinummvpteam.kw.com. That's platinummvpteam.kw.com. And please follow us online at Brandon Rhymes 1 on Instagram, Twitter, Getter, and check out our YouTube channel, Brandon Rhymes Realty. Make it a great day. Hey, Brandon Rhymes here for Cleaning Commandos here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Cleaning Commandos are hiring, and they're offering competitive wages, flexible hours, relaxed atmosphere, and a sign-on bonus. Reach out if you'd like a career with the Cleaning Commandos here in Tampa Bay. Info at cleaningcommandosllc.com or call 813-750-0550, 813-750-0550. Cleaning Commandos, Consumer Quarterback Show.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
And we appreciate you hanging out with us here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Support the show. Reach out to the hotline, 813-917-1894, consumerqb.com, and support the show. We greatly appreciate that. We're a top 100 ranked real estate team here in Tampa Bay, and we help our sellers maximize the exposure and the profit on the sale of their real estate properties. We got a hot property at 1618 West De Leon. This is a South Tampa beauty, Mediterranean Palace corner location on a condo at 1618 De Leon, West De Leon Street in Tampa. You got the walkability over to Hyde Park Village. Enjoy the restaurants and bars there. 3 bedrooms, 3.5 bath. 2,300 square foot multi-story townhome, large bedroom, vaulted ceiling, stainless steel appliances, private balconies as well, taking those gorgeous views. 2-car garage with plenty of in-unit storage space. And, of course, the high walkability is a big plus. 1618 West De Leon Street in Tampa. You can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. All right, going to the phone lines. Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum. Welcome back to the show, sir.
Hello, Brandon. Hello, everybody out there. I'm glad to be back on the radio. I've been out there running around trying to measure up some of these damaged pool enclosures. Pretty sad situation. What we're seeing, a lot of damage. You know, what's really unfortunate is a lot of the hurricane insurance, the deductible is 2% of the value of the property.
Right.
And, and I think the property values are extremely overrated right now. And, if you got a $500,000 appraisal on your property when it's really not even worth $500,000 in some cases, you're going to be paying a lot more for your deductible, and I'm running into that constantly. I don't think it's a fair and balanced equation. Are you hearing much about that in your real estate business?
Well, yeah, I mean it's going to be a challenge because with the huge storm and the impact that Ian had, it's still being counted in the billions, I believe. So for that example, I want to walk through that example. So if you got a 2% hurricane deductible and you got a $500,000 home, 2% would be, I believe, $10,000, correct? So if you're taking a 2% deductible, $10,000 from the consumer before they even touch anything related to a hurricane.
That's right. Hang on a second, all right? You know what? I used to do math much quicker.
I know. Yeah, I'm thinking about 2% on a real estate commission.
No, you're right. You're right.
10K.
You're right there.
So then you're
talking 10K.
So you got 10K there. So that's including your screen, your mangled screen, any kind of drywall that needs to be ripped out. That's a lot of money coming out of pocket.
But what I don't like about it is I don't believe in next year this time that $500,000 property may be down to around $400,000.
Right.
And I don't believe that the numbers are. In other words, an appraisal is always different than assessed, and I'm not sure where the insurance companies come up with their values unless they go back to the previous appraisal. Mm-hmm. However, if the place hadn't sold in 10 years, they go back to the previous appraisal, then it's going to be appraised low. But I don't think they're doing that. I think they're coming up with different numbers, and they're certainly not appraising each property before they settle with the homeowner. So it's sort of a bad situation. I've got a lot of homeowners asking me the reality of what's going to happen, and I just can't tell them. But we try to do the math based on what they think their property's worth, and then we take it from there. And it's $500,000 properties are everywhere right now. And boy, I see these cages that are damaged. I mean, generally, most of your cages are valued over that amount. But if it's a fairly new cage and it was damaged and it has to be replaced, the homeowner's going to come up with $10,000 no matter what to replace it and to basically get back what they had in the past. Sad situation.
Yeah, and some people just were self-insured. They just said, you know what, I haven't been flooded. I'm not going to take a hit. I'm not going to pay the insurance. I know a couple people that had that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's tough.
I had one recently, and this thing's a six-figure cage. It's a big one.
Wow.
And no insurance, self-insured, basically.
Those cages can get expensive, can't they?
They can be. Well, this is a two-story, large, tremendous span, side to side, 70 feet, projection, 44, 45 feet. So it's a big one. But either way, it's sad. And look, I'm in the business to make money and all that, but I don't need hurricanes to make money. And what I see going on out there is it doesn't sit well with me. Homeowners are really, they're devastated at the fact that they already had damage, and then they're more devastated when they realize the limited amount of coverage that they're going to get from their insurance. Typical insurance. Now we're not dealing with in this area. We're not dealing with FEMA. The FEMA kicked in down south where there's a tremendous amount of damage. I don't see FEMA settlements up here, but if there were FEMA, I dealt with FEMA in the past myself, and it was not an easy situation. I know people that are not even getting responses from FEMA down south, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. More with Fred Muth coming up here on the other side. I want to ask you about supply chain, also labor. We had one of our contributors talking about labor being such an issue with his company and some of the challenges. I want to ask Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum, the same question coming up here on the flip side of the break. More with Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. Please make sure to send him all of your real estate deals and subscribe to the Consumer Quarterback Show podcast on iTunes and Spotify, or check out our YouTube channel. Have a blessed day.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
And welcome back to the Consumer Quarterback Show. We always love to help you win in your real estate deals. If you're buying, selling, or investing, consumerqb.com. And we've got 80 different categories of consumer advocates that we interview: attorneys, CPAs, financial advisors, great contractors as well that can help you understand your buying decisions, make you more street smart. And we don't care if you're climbing a corporate ladder or if you throw a ladder in your truck on the way to work. This show's for you. We want to help you win. And by the way, I was just plugging the RealAnthonyFauciMovie.com on yesterday's show, and some folks are giving me good feedback on that. The RealAnthonyFauciMovie.com breaks down, all the nonsense the federal government and what they did for the emergency use authorization. RealAnthonyFauciMovie.com. Check it out. Tell your friends about it. All right, we got a hot listing here. We'd like to feature our listings on air. We help our sellers profit more and sell faster, utilizing our innovations with radio, TV, and internet marketing. 6361 U.S. Highway 301 South in Riverview, a commercial property, corner lot location, about 50,000 vehicles a day passing by. 6361 Highway 301 South in Riverview. This is a corner lot, fenced-in property. You got office space up front, mechanic shop in the back. Awesome opportunity to relocate your business. 0.81 acre lot, just under a full acre. 50,000 vehicles a day passing by. One of our hot commercial listings. You can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. All right, Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum, talking about the labor force. I want to go into a little bit of the labor force. One of our contractors was on the show yesterday, Decorating Elves, Nick Shriver. He was saying what a challenge it's been for him lately to find good help. Are you noticing the same thing?
Yeah, and screen enclosure installation crews are a very different breed than the standard construction man, the guy that's out framing houses, etc. And a lot of these guys, they start out that way as framers. They come down from the north, they frame, and then they realize that there's a little bit of money in the aluminum cages. But the precision on building a cage versus a framer, it's altogether different, and it takes a lot of talent, a heck of a lot of talent. And if you think about it, these guys in the middle of July, they're up 15 feet in the air, rolling screen fabric into the top. It's 98 degrees out, and it does not faze them. And so they're an extremely different breed of installation type people. And I used to make the statement 10 years ago, if there were 1,500 very good installers on the west coast of Florida, there's probably still only 1,500 good screen enclosure installers on the west coast of Florida today. They are at a premium. Not everybody can do what they do. I know guys that are very good at just building screen rooms with aluminum roofs and the rest of it. Some of these guys won't touch pool cages. Pool cages is a step up when it comes to the talent level. And another thing, I mentioned a six-figure cage a few minutes ago being a two-story. Typically, from the ground to the 10-foot level on a cage, they get $1 amount per square foot, and then 10 to 20 that dollar amount typically doubles. So if you got a 2-story cage, 20-foot high walls, you're paying, the homeowner's going to be paying double the labor all the way around for this entire cage. And then if it has a screen roof on it that goes up another 4 feet, it goes up another increment. And so, the 2-story cages are extremely expensive. And rightfully so, because if you watch these guys install these things, it takes a lot of effort. It takes a heck of a lot of effort. And I'm not just saying that because I'm in this business, but I've watched all types of construction, and the cage guys really do have a talent, a tremendous talent. Unlike roofers, you get up there and you do your thing, which is fairly simple, but a roofer is still dealing with the heat and the elements.
Right.
So my hat goes off to them as well.
Yeah, absolutely, man. The economy and inflation is something else that's a challenge. Supply chain issues. Top issues are the economy and inflation. I'm going to play a quick clip here from one of the podcasts I listen to frequently.
The cavalry that's going to arrive to say the Democrats, if it does arrive, ain't going to be the youth vote. Take it away, ma'am.
Well, the left is completely missing the mark with young voters. Generation Z is on track to become the most entrepreneurial generation in history, with 62% of them saying that they intend to or have already started their own businesses. Now, if we could pull up the chart from the Siena College National Survey, we can see that the top issue amongst 18 to 29-year-olds and 30 to 44-year-olds in all age groups for that matter is the economy and inflation. Not climate change, not racial division, the economy. Plain and simple. And in addition to this, we have a Yahoo survey from late September, which shows us that 52% of voters aged 18 to 29 disapprove of the job that Joe Biden has done.
Economy and inflation. Fred Muth.
I don't know. I have to be careful here. Real simply, I could say once a bum, always a bum.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's leave it at that.
Yeah, it's tough, man. But it's affecting real lives. People are the purchasing power. I believe it's something like $7,500 a year now of extra cost added on to the average family, and that affects minorities more per capita. It affects middle and lower income homes a lot more than it's affecting these political elites.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. Yeah, it's an unbalanced system, unfortunately.
Yep, absolutely. We got to get some changes, make some changes, and hold some accountability. Especially a lot of this money going overseas. It needs to stay here and protect our southern border. There's a lot that needs to change there. Tampa Screens and Aluminum. Let's talk about the product itself, because I know there's been some innovations in the screen rooms, and you're talking about the pool cages. There's some new where you've eliminated a lot of the vertical panels needed. Now you can do this. What was it called? Panorama view.
Panoramic view. As a matter of fact, I'm working on one as we speak, and it's a massive cage on Davis Islands, and an expensive house, and it's overall 52 by 72. That's a huge cage.
Wow.
And this customer, he wants panel view all the way around. So typically, I don't like to span anything in excess of 26 feet on a panel. So the 52-foot wall, that's going to have 2 panels, and then the 72, I can do 3 panels on that. And, if we had to go further, we had to go 50 foot on the span, we could. It's not something I would ever recommend. It's not something that I want to sell, because I know it's more problematic going down the road. It's much better if you keep them panels at probably maximum 26-foot span. This is going to be a huge one. These panels are going to be 26 by 14. That's a big open panel. Wow. But we can do it. And this customer, he specifically does not want to see the uprights. He does not want to see the chair rails, and it's set in his mind that that's what he wants. So we're going to bid it that way. Nice. But we're getting a lot of them like this, and this is a brand new build. I'm getting a lot of opportunity to tear down the old cage and go back with a new one with pano view. As a matter of fact, some of the damaged cages that I measured 25 cages so far, 30 possibly, that were damaged from trees just in the Brandon, Riverview, Valrico area. Trees fell over and hit them. And these customers, they don't want to go back with the uprights and the chair rails. They want the panoramic view because it's a much nicer looking product. And if you have a good backdrop coming off the back of the property, it's you really get your money's worth out of it. If you have a fence behind your house and and you're looking out and you see the fence, there's no value in bumping it up to the panoramic view if you're going to look right out and see the fence. But typically the panoramic views are being sold to those that have a very nice backdrop coming off the back of the properties.
Right, absolutely. The waterfront and lakefront, riverfront, all that good stuff.
Riverfront, golf course too. Golf course is another one.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. All right, Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum. You can check them out online. Fred, how do you want folks to connect?
Always best by phone, 813-960-7064. Works the best. Or they can go to tampascreensandaluminum.com.
All right, awesome. Consumer Quarterback Show hotline as well is available. Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, coming up, Alex Lima, BlackBelt Fitness and Martial Arts on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Going to come back from break. Also, feel-good story of the day. Parents ask beloved NICU nurse to become their children's godparents. Feel-good story coming up here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Warwick Dunn, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
Dennis Prager here for Brandon and Lindsay Rhymes, owners of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams. Buying, selling, investing in real estate, their nationwide Keller Williams network makes them the best team to work with. Sellers, have your property featured live on air, creating multiple offers. Buyers, leverage a unique system that gets your offer accepted, never overlooked. Call or text 813-750-0550, 813-750-0550, or consumerqb.com.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show. Welcome back. And Consumer QB Show, we always like to tell you something positive every day in our feel-good story of the day.
Tell me something good.
All right, so interesting story. Parents asked the beloved NICU nurse to be their son's godmother when Austin Evans was finally able to bring her baby Conrad home from the hospital after 6 months in the neonatal intensive care unit. She was thrilled, but there was one thing she was going to miss: her son's nurse, Carly Miller. Conrad was born early with a kidney blockage and breathing difficulties and was immediately whisked away to the NICU at Texas Children's Hospital in Houston. For the first 37 days of his life, Evans and her husband, Brendan Williams, were unable to hold him. They relied on us from updates, said Miller, who was the only one who really knew. So they just had the updates, and she said she remained her primary nurse and was put on a type of a dialysis she was not experienced with. Conrad grew to recognize her voice, responding to her, and when she would enter the room after 6 months in the NICU, Conrad was released. But since her family formed such a tight bond with Miller, thinking of having to never see Carly again was heart-wrenching. So they asked her to be the godmother, and she said yes. Awesome story.
That's awesome, man. As as being a medic, I've served as a first responder, and you do build an attachment to certain cases and certain patients and stuff, especially when it comes to children.
Right.
It's a whole different world when it comes to children.
I can't imagine six months like that, and then all of a sudden, okay, well, bye, go home now.
Well, imagine you had a baby not too long ago, and for the first the entirety of that child's beginning of their life, you can't touch them, you can't hug them, you can't start to build that rapport and connection. That's wild.
Yeah, tough, man. Tough stuff. All right, feel good story of the day. Every day we like to tell you something good there. So Alex Lima, BlackBelt Fitness and Martial Arts here in studio. And what are you seeing out there, man? How are things going?
Going good, man. Training sessions are picking up. The summer was obviously people had a lot more free time, so people were looking for stuff to do and wanted to look good while they were at the beach and stuff. Then school started, so that started to kind of drop off. It was a big trend in gyms all around. But now they're starting to pick up again because people are falling into their routine and they're realizing I need to get my energy up and stuff again, so we can start training and stuff. So training sessions have been pretty fat, man.
Yeah,
I'm loving it.
Training is the key, man. It's training, being active, mixing it up, I think is a key for people. And, sometimes you get that monotonous, that boring, if you have the membership and then you go to the gym, it's like, oh, well, I'm doing it myself. I go to the treadmill, get a little warmed up, then I may hit some machines. But yeah, I think it's one of the keys for people is to go in and mix it up, do something different each time. That's why I like training with you. Sometimes it's boxing, sometimes it's grappling, kickboxing. I mean, mixing all the different martial arts together.
Yeah, I think a key component there too is getting with a trainer. Because most people either they're inexperienced when they go to a gym, whether it's a traditional like lifting or conventional gym, or it's even if it's a an MMA or boxing gym or whatever. They're inexperienced, so they don't know what to work when they go in there. So they find their comfort zone. They gravitate towards that treadmill or that bench press or whatever, and that's it. That's all they stay on. But you got to mix it up. You got to do more than that.
Yeah.
You typically find the ones people that have been lifting and training hard as an athlete for like a long time. Those are the ones that are more comfortable just going to a gym. They can do their thing. Get with a trainer. They're gonna someone like myself is gonna teach you the way, teach you a path, and then more so than get you started, like teach you how to get into this lifestyle and do something with it.
Right.
And you got to think like even think of the highest level athlete that you can think of.
Yeah.
Even like a Tiger Woods or a Tom Brady, whatever. They still work with the trainer.
Right.
Why? Because even when you know the game, you still need someone to push you and keep you going in different directions.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Training and, even when it comes to self-defense, we go into a lot about the talk of self-defense and, that there's a lot of, crime coming through the southern border. There's a lot of negative things in the media. I was just listening to one of my podcasts. I want to play a clip here about how weak our military is now with the woke politics coming in. I believe draining the strategic oil reserve is a huge mistake. Just trying to buy political points is what Sleepy Joe's doing right now.
Yeah.
But I want to play this clip about how weak the military is right now. It's startling.
So the index basically scores the military services and says, how did they do this year? Are they training enough? Do they have modern equipment or broken down stuff? Do they have enough in terms of capacity? And so we compile all that throughout the year, publish this index, and it's a report to the American people.
Now, you recently put out the 2023 results of this index. What did you find?
The military is weak. So on a scale of very weak, kind of a moderate level, we'll call it marginal, strong, and very strong, those 5 grades. And it's not an indictment of the quality of the people. We have fantastic people working in the military services. They work long hours to do great stuff, but they're using really old equipment. The military continues to shrink, and we just don't have the readiness. Pilots aren't flying. In the Cold War, with the Soviet Union was around, an Air Force pilot would fly in excess of 300 hours a year. Today, the average pilot in the Air Force is flying fewer than 120. They're getting maybe one flight of about an hour and a half or so each week. You just can't maintain your skills.
Now, in dollars, has there been a drastic reduction in funding, or is it just an expanded need?
It's both of those things. And
so, yeah, it goes on to talk about, so if you'd missed it, our military is deemed weak by this ratings agency that was on the Daily Wire. By the way, so the cost he's going on to talk about there is the sophistication in the cost. So, now you got night vision, the cost to outfit an actual soldier, night vision, body armor, sophisticated weapons, things of that nature. That cost has gone up, but it hasn't gone up in terms of budgeting wise. But yeah, pretty sad news, isn't it? Our military is deemed weak.
That entire clip is mind blowing to me. So what are we being taxed for, and what is our money that goes towards the U.S. military and stuff? What is it being utilized for? If it's not being utilized for better training, I understand that we may not have the latest and like night vision goggles.
Yeah.
So use last seasons, which are still fine, and get these guys better trained and get them utilizing the equipment. I don't understand any of that. Why? How can we be weak? We have all this money. We're supposed to be the greatest nation and military in the world.
Well, we're more worried about woke politics and vaccine
and sending money overseas and stuff. And it's unacceptable.
Yeah, the vaccine, to force people out of the military or even out of their jobs. Police officers been kicked out, paramedics, kicked out. I think, some friends of mine even were dealt with that personal issue, right?
Yeah,
some paramedics.
So let me tell you, the last system that I was working for, they try to do the thing where they try to force us to, either sign a declination or fight it, or hey, you lose your job, or go ahead and get the jab or whatever, right? So now, after all this time, they finally passed it like, hey, guys, everything's all good. You can take the mask off, right? If you work in this hospital system or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But you can only take the mask off if you got the vaccine.
Wow.
So now we're singling out the people that didn't get the vaccine, right? Because now you're walking around with this scarlet letter on your face.
Yeah, exactly. It's
you know
modern totalitarianism.
So again, if the vaccine works and everybody else can take the mask off, what does it matter whether I have mine on or
exactly?
It doesn't make any sense.
And by the way, the droplets go right through that thing. Even
It's a
Fauci
joke.
said it.
It's a
The real Anthony Fauci movie.com. I hope everybody sees that. It's a free movie for another 5 or 6 days. The real Anthony Fauci movie.com. It's disgusting what happened in our country.
Sickening.
I mean, yeah, it really is. So self-defense, let's talk about that. People, you got to be able to understand, know how to defend yourself with either with a weapon, without a weapon. Go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, so it's funny actually. I have this conversation on a regular basis with people, but I actually had a conversation last night with some girls that I've been training for a while. They come to like my boxing and like my Muay Thai class, and they're like consistent and they train hard and they're always asking questions. So I see that this is a level above just like the common of interest of like, oh, this is fun to do, right? So they train real hard, and they talk to me. They always ask a question about like, well, what if a guy does this? Self-defense scenarios and real true fighting and combat scenarios. What it all boils down to in the end is when it comes to an attack, by the time you're attacked, it's too late to start thinking about your training.
Right.
You need to be doing this. You need to be training. You need to be in the gym. You need to prepare for this. I pray no one ever has to use the skill set that I show them. But by the time it's game time, it's too late to start thinking about, oh, I should have learned this, I should have done that. I've taught rape prevention seminars and self-defense seminars and abduction seminars all around on top of the classes that I teach. And every single time, every single one, people come up to me afterwards and tell me that I wish I would have known this sooner, oftentimes in tears.
Right.
That, hey, I wish I would have done this sooner.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Again, I started this stuff as a little kid, so it's baffling to me if anybody, I don't understand why anybody doesn't want to know this stuff. It's my normal. But why would you not want to take your ability to defend yourself or at least survive seriously?
Right. Take it to the next level.
I don't understand. I guess people are just, I don't think people actively wake up and say that would never happen to me.
Right.
But their perception on the matter is greatly, it's delusional.
Right.
It can happen at any point in time. Anybody that has ever been attacked, they don't wake up that morning and say, oh, 2:00 today, that's when it's going to happen.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But it's the same people that will go out and buy lottery tickets and just think they're going to win.
Today's the day, bro. Today's the day.
Optimistic.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's bizarre what we put our attention, what we prioritize, isn't it? It's
right.
Not all of us, but the majority of the
just
population.
in general. Yeah, generalization. Yeah. And we talked to Thomas King, Florida Firearms Academy, concealed carry, longtime friend of the program. And so when you put all that together, you know how to defend yourself physically, whether it's knees, elbows, all that fun stuff, kicks, and then also if you have a concealed carry, if it gets elevated to that position, to be able to step up and use the appropriate level of force.
Yeah, that for the common, the lay person, and also for for our military and for our law enforcement as well. I have a guy I'm training right now that's law enforcement. He's fresh out of the academy. And he realizes, he's like, what they showed me wasn't enough. It's on you afterwards. They don't do like a weekly training of where you have to go in and continue to work combatives.
Wow.
It's on you as the officer or the first responder to continue your training.
Right.
They qualify with their weapons and stuff every so often to make sure that they're meeting, the benchmark for it. But what about the hand-to-hand stuff and all that, Same thing, I've trained military personnel before, MPs, military police that are actually doing arrests and stuff and everything. And they come in, and I'm not boasting that like I could beat every man on the planet, but like I've grappled with these guys and sparred with these guys, and they were, for being their position, right. I feel that they're grossly undertrained.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So then a lot of them sign up afterwards, and we show them some extra tips and tricks and stuff. But
yeah.
There should be a higher standard as for the lay person, for your personal self-defense and protection, for you and your family, people you love. And for our law enforcement, first responder, military, all need to be held to a higher standard.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All for that, man. And what's the best social sites where you want people to find you?
So you can always call me, 813-426-1588, or you can do just a quick, good old Google, the Google search. You can look up, BlackBelt Fitness Tampa, BlackBelt one word, BlackBelt Fitness Tampa, or BlackBelt_fitness on all my social media.
Awesome, man. Good stuff. Yep. Anything new in the UFC? Any big fights coming up?
There's actually a fight this Saturday in Abu Dhabi. They're doing a big card in Abu Dhabi. So we'll see how that goes. That's always a little weird because their time zone is different.
Yeah.
So, but it's always fun.
Long ways away.
Yeah.
All right. Good stuff. Thanks for coming in.
Always
appreciate
pleasure.
all your help. And shout out to Fred Muth as well as Shane Socash. Another great show. We want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Do something kind for one another and be a force for good in the community. We'll see you next time right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Call Brandon Rhymes at 813-917-1894. That's 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback Show.